World War II wasn't only fought on battlefields. Behind the front lines, America carried out secret missions so daring and hidden, even its own soldiers never knew. These covert operations shaped history in ways the world is only beginning to uncover. During World War II, America carried out missions so secret that even many soldiers never knew they happened. From deception operations to hidden strikes behind enemy lines, these missions were designed to tip the balance of the war. They weren't always loud or explosive. Sometimes the quietest tricks shaped the biggest victories. These hidden efforts reveal how creativity and courage became as powerful as tanks and planes. One of the boldest missions involved the Ghost Army, a unit of artists, designers, and sound engineers. They used inflatable tanks, fake radio chatter, and even loudspeakers blasting recorded battle sounds to fool German forces. Entire divisions were convinced they faced massive armies, when in truth, it was all an illusion. Their deception saved countless American lives and reshaped how wars could be fought without firing a shot. American submarines played a hidden role that often went unnoticed. Secretly patrolling the Pacific, they disrupted Japanese supply lines by sinking cargo ships and cutting off resources. It wasn't glamorous, and many crews never surfaced again. But these missions slowly strangled Japan's ability to fight. Without supplies, even the strongest army begins to collapse. This silent war beneath the waves proved as decisive as any land battle. In the mountains of Europe, U.S. paratroopers were dropped far behind enemy lines in secret operations. Their mission was to sabotage railways, blow up bridges, and create chaos before major battles. Many were cut off, surviving with little more than courage and determination. Their sacrifices delayed enemy reinforcements and gave American forces the edge on the front lines, showing how small teams could change the course of history. Few know about Operation Ivy Bells, where U.S. Navy divers risked their lives on dangerous underwater missions. Though much of their work stayed classified for decades, it revealed how America pushed technology to the limits, from underwater espionage to submarine wiretaps. These secret efforts didn't just win battles, they shaped modern intelligence gathering, setting the stage for the Cold War that followed. American codebreakers worked in total secrecy, hidden away in rooms filled with typewriters, radios, and early computers. Their goal? Crack enemy codes before the enemy struck. By breaking Japanese naval codes, they discovered plans for battles like Midway, allowing U.S. forces to prepare ambushes. These missions didn't involve bullets, but every intercepted message meant thousands of lives saved and a turning tide in the Pacific. Some secret missions weren't about fighting. They were about stealing knowledge. American intelligence teams tracked down German scientists before the Soviets could. This effort, known as Operation Paperclip, secretly brought hundreds of experts to the U.S. after the war. Their knowledge helped build rockets, jet engines, and even laid the foundation for America's space program. These missions proved that knowledge could be more powerful than any weapon. The U.S. also ran secret supply missions across dangerous skies. Pilots flew through mountains and storms over the Hump, a deadly route from India to China. They carried weapons, food, and fuel to keep China fighting against Japan. Thousands of flights were made in fragile planes with no modern navigation. Though rarely mentioned in history books, these missions kept an entire front alive when it mattered most. One of the most daring missions was the Doolittle Raid. In 1942, American bombers secretly launched from an aircraft carrier to strike Tokyo. It was the first attack on Japan's home islands, proving to the world and to Japan that America could hit back. Though the mission caused limited physical damage, the psychological impact was massive. It boosted American morale and forced Japan to divert resources to defend its mainland. Behind enemy lines in Europe, American intelligence officers worked hand-in-hand with resistance groups. They trained local fighters, supplied weapons, and coordinated sabotage missions. These secret efforts disrupted German railroads, factories, and communication lines. For the soldiers involved, it was a dangerous game of cat and mouse. but their work tied down German forces that might otherwise have fought on the front lines. The OSS, America's first intelligence agency, carried out missions that sound like movie plots. Agents parachuted into enemy territory, carrying tiny radios, explosives disguised as coal, and even fake passports. Their job wasn't just to gather intelligence, but to create confusion and fear among enemy troops. Though risky, their operations inspired the creation of the CIA after the war, proving that espionage was as vital as armies. Another secret effort was America's work on weather forecasting. It may sound simple, but knowing when storms would hit allowed U.S. forces to launch D-Day at the perfect moment. Teams of hidden meteorologists provided reports that the Germans never expected. The invasion was delayed by one day due to their advice, and that single decision, sometimes, secret missions weren't about combat, but about timing, helped ensure its success. Under the cover of darkness, U.S. Rangers launched raids on enemy-held coasts. They scaled cliffs, infiltrated bunkers, and destroyed artillery that threatened Allied forces. Missions like Pointed to Hawk during D-Day became legendary, but many smaller raids remain forgotten. These secret strikes often decided whether thousands of soldiers could land safely or be slaughtered on the beaches below. Bravery and silence became their trademark. The U.S. also launched psychological missions. Leaflets were dropped from planes, spreading misinformation to weaken enemy morale. Radio broadcasts delivered false reports to confuse troops and citizens alike. These weren't just propaganda. They were carefully crafted messages that made enemies doubt their leaders and strategies. Wars aren't only fought with bullets. Sometimes, words and ideas become the sharpest weapons. Operation Alsos was a little-known mission where American scientists and soldiers raced to uncover Nazi progress on atomic weapons. They entered dangerous war zones, searching labs and capturing scientists before the Soviets did. Their discoveries confirmed that Germany hadn't built the bomb, but they also provided vital knowledge for America's own Manhattan Project. These missions shaped not only WWII, but the nuclear age itself. Secrecy wasn't limited to Europe. In the Pacific, small U.S. units conducted reconnaissance on islands weeks before invasions. They mapped terrain, scouted enemy bunkers, and sometimes even captured prisoners for intelligence. Their reports determined how generals planned attacks. Without them, U.S. forces might have walked blindly into fortified traps. These unsung scouts risked everything, knowing their survival was unlikely, but their work essential. Many secret missions relied on deception. In Operation Fortitude, the U.S. helped build a fake invasion force aimed at Calais, tricking Germany into expecting an attack far from Normandy. Inflatable tanks, dummy ships, and even fake radio signals convinced Hitler to keep his armies in the wrong place. Without this deception, D-Day might have failed. It remains one of history's greatest military tricks. Secret medical missions also saved lives. Teams of American doctors and medics developed new techniques for treating wounds, blood loss, and disease under battlefield conditions. Their work was often classified because it revealed front-line strategies. Many of these innovations, from mobile surgical units to antibiotics, are still used today. While soldiers fought with rifles, doctors fought just as hard with medicine and hope. Some U.S. missions stayed classified for decades. In one case, pilots secretly transported pieces of enemy technology, like jet engines and rockets, back to America for study. These missions helped close the technology gap and gave the U.S. an edge not just in World War II, but in future conflicts. Behind every battle, there was a quiet war of science and innovation, shaping tomorrow's weapons. At the end of the war, U.S. missions focused on recovery. Secret teams entered Nazi territory to rescue stolen art, gold, and cultural treasures. Known as the Monuments Men, they saved priceless works from destruction or theft. While bombs destroyed cities, these missions preserved humanity's history. Their courage showed that war wasn't just about winning, it was also about protecting the very culture people were fighting to defend. From deception and sabotage to science and courage, these secret U.S. missions proved that wars are not only won with firepower. They shaped the course of World War II and the world we live in today. Many of these stories stayed hidden for decades, but now you know the truth. What other secrets remain buried in history? Subscribe and join us as we uncover more untold stories of the past.